Hi guys, this is Uncle Mike again. Letting you know I got a new hobby. I was over at Walmart and the gal in front of me was checking out, and I noticed her ring, and it looked like something made into a ring, and it looked really familiar, and I couldn't put my finger on it yet. And then it dawned on me that it was a coin, and she had a coin made into a ring. So I asked her and her husband if they wouldn't hang out and talk to me a little bit about it while I was getting my stuff or groceries checked out. And anyway, he told me how to do it. Told me there's videos on YouTube on how to make them, and told me what kind of tools I'm going to need, how to heat the coin with a torch and anneal the metal, and then you got to heat it with a torch and drop it in water, and then anneals the metal so that it'll bend without cracking or stretching and splitting. These are a couple of my ones that I made here today. I made 4 of them today, made 2 of them yesterday, and I gave those away already. These are actually two-sided. I don't know if you can see on the inside. The inside of them actually has, these are made out of 50-cent pieces, so it says Liberty on the inside, and I believe it has a date in there. Yeah, 1960 something, I think, 65. Yeah, 1965 it looks like in there, but let's see here. Darn, the camera don't want to focus too well on this. United States of America. Come on, focus. Well, the glare on this thing, so it doesn't want to show you, but it says $50 on it. Anyway, I was going to show you some of the tools needed to do these. Let me bring the camera down here. See if I can adjust this a little bit. There we go. I've actually got the 4 of them, like I said, that I made. Here's one that actually fits me pretty well. That one there, I can slip it on my finger and it'll actually fit. I got another one here. This one's made out of a state quarter. It says 2007 on there, and it's I believe it's a Washington. Yeah, this is a Washington state quarter. I don't know if you can read that on there or not, but it's a Washington state quarter, 2007. That one there turned out to be really small. Quarters, you put a smaller hole in them on the quarters, so they start off small and they end up being small. The 50-cent pieces, you can put a bigger hole in them, take out more metal out of the beginning of it, and it ends up being a bigger size, so they'll actually fit. This one here, I took the same size hole out of this one, this 50-cent piece, as I did in this quarter, and I was able to stretch it even further than I thought I was going to be able to stretch it. That I can get on my little pinky here, but I can't get it on any other finger. This one here, I can't even get it over my knuckle on my little pinky. So you can get a various amount of sizes out of the smaller hole, but I don't think you'll ever get it to fit onto, say, my knuckles there. I got gigantic knuckles. Got hands on that I got from my dad. He had hands that looked like baseball mitts. Anyway, what you're going to need here, this is a punch and die set, and you take your quarters or your 50-cent piece here, and you slip it underneath this piece of plastic. Now you can get this punch and die set from Harbor Freight. It's $29.99. I got it for $22.50 because Travis gave me a coupon sent me a coupon for 25% off, so that helped out a lot. But you put your die in there, you get your quarter or 50-cent piece all lined up as best you can. You use a sledgehammer, you don't use this hammer, and then you'll whack it a couple of good times, and it'll pop a hole right in the center of it. 50-cent pieces, I usually use the 5/8 hole over here in the, next to the largest one, and you use the other die for that one, obviously. But use a bigger die and you punch out a bigger hole. Once you've got your hole put in there, you're gonna, oops, let's see here, put this out of the way. Okay, this is something that you can pick up also at Harbor Freight. They're going to sell for about $42. They come with a set of round-headed punches, I guess. They look like they got a ball bearing welded onto the end of a stick or a punch. But if you don't want to spend the $42.99 for it, you can order them on, like I said, Amazon. I think I gave, I don't know, 15 bucks maybe, or less than $20 anyway for this unit here. Once you've got your hole in there, you're going to take your coin, depending on which side you want to be on the outside, and if you want it on the outside, it's going to be down. And I usually use the back side of the 50-cent piece because it looks better than the front side. So you put the back side down, you take your ball-peen hammer, you set your ball-peen hammer inside the hole, take another ball-peen hammer, using the rounded end on the ball-peen hammer, take another ball-peen hammer and whack your hammer, and that drives it down until it mushrooms out. That takes care of about 99% of rolling your coin over. It's a lot easier if you start off with this thing here. I've seen guys on the internet, and they'll put the coin on here, and then they sit there and whack at it, and every time they hit it, it wants to jump back off the shaft here. Now this is also something you're going to need. It's a jeweler's mandrel, I guess they call it. You can get them with a groove down the center of it, with the letters or the numbers etched into the groove. I got one that was completely round. I wish I'd have got the one that had a little bit deeper cuts in here for the size, because after a period of time, these numbers that are etched in here with a laser are going to end up wearing off. They're going to rub right off of there. But for what I'm doing, you know, it's good enough. I can see I can see the numbers well enough for now. Eventually, when I feel like I need to order another one, these are like, I think, $12.50, something like that on Amazon. Less than $20 for this here. This is going to cost you about $30 for the punch set. The hammer, that was less than $10. And you're going to need this type of hammer. They got other kind of hammers. This works the best. It does. I've got the rubber type mallets, and I've got the type with the plastic heads on them, and the brass heads and that kind of stuff. This plastic one here, this high density plastic, is the best out of all of them. You take your coin though, and you stick it over here. Now it's already bent, you know, so that it's it's folded over. And so once you got it folded over, you know, what you do is you're going to take a piece of 3/4 inch PVC pipe, stick it over the top of this thing, and drive this coin down to where you need to have it sized. Once you have it down to the size that you think you need to have for your finger, stop just a little before you get to it, maybe 1 or 1.5 to 2 sizes before you get to that point. Because what's going to happen is, once you start folding your quarter over, this part around the bottom here is going to open up again. So what you do then is, once you've got this drove down onto it, turn it over, pop that back off, then you take the coin and stick it on this direction, you know, flip it back over, so that you're going to have to you're going to close this against the shaft. One thing that the guy told me to do, he says, is there's a lip on the outside and the inside of these coins. He says, take a grinder or a Dremel tool or sandpaper and grind the lip off, he says, so that you can bring it in a little bit tighter. And he says, you can do it on the outside as well. He says, and that just keeps it from, sometimes that, he says, bites into your fingers, especially when somebody goes to, you know, shake hands with you and kind of crushes your fingers. He says that bites into you pretty good. So you want to sand that off if you can. But you drop it over the top of this thing, and you're going to have to anneal your coin, he said, 3 or 4 times while you're bending it down. I can usually get away with about 2.5 to 3, or 2 to 3 times annealing the coin. Once I've got it all the way, you know, tapped back down on my shaft here, I got it the right size that I needed. Then what you do is bring it back off here. Then what you do is you're going to take for the last time, you're going to sand all this edge down here, get it flat. You know, you set it on something flat and just sand it down. also, when you're driving this thing on here, you're going to want this, whoops, this ring here. You're going to want to take this ring and set it on something hard. Do not set it against metal. Metal is going to smash out all your letters and you're not going to see them. You want to have a hard surface, put a board on top of that, or a piece of plastic, or something that you can set this against, and it'll help support the back, and you can still drive it down without damaging the coin. Go ahead and sand your edges down. Sand the inside lip of this thing down so that it's not going to cut you. Sand the outside lip of it down. Also go ahead and try to sand off that lip that's on the outside of this here. Then you're going to take it up against the buffer and buff that edge. Then what I normally do is I'll put it, or heat it up again, drop it in the water. It turns just black. Pull it back out of your water, buff the edge up here nice, and this edge over here, so that you can see the grooved edges and the little ridges, I guess. You can see that really well. But you want to go ahead and polish up the inside and those two edges there. Now on the outside of it, what I did then is I just take steel wool and I'll buff that down a little bit so that you can see the raised letters, but the rest of the coin stays black then, and it looks a little bit better than the ones that I first did. I did them and they were just plain silver. You really couldn't see the lettering. You couldn't read it. The letters stand out a lot better if you have a darker background on it. Even on the state quarter, I should have buffed that down a little bit more than what I did, but it still looks a lot better than, say, buffed out again. But that's what I've been doing here in the last couple of days anyway. I'm thinking about getting into sand casting, so I'm building a forge, and that way I can sand cast some parts for the Studebaker and make some door handles and window cranks, or not the window cranks on the inside, but I got the little ones for the opera windows and stuff. I got to remold those, and to buy them, they're just expensive as hell. So I figured if I could try to sand cast them and make them out of aluminum, they'll last forever because they're aluminum, not that pot metal, and hopefully I can get away with it by drinking up a couple 6-packs of beer and smashing the cans down, and there you go. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Till you get bored with this project.